When you picture Italy, what comes to mind? Is it the Colosseum in Rome, the canals of Venice, or maybe a delicious plate of pasta in Tuscany? For most of us, Italy is a dream destination, a place of stunning beauty, rich history, and incredible food. But behind this postcard-perfect image, there's another side to Italy that tourists rarely see, a reality that millions of Italians live every single day. And that reality is poverty. It might be shocking to hear, but yes, Italy has a significant poverty problem. We're talking about millions of people who struggle to make ends meet. It is a complex issue that doesn't fit the stereotypical images of poverty we might have in our minds. This isn't just about homelessness, though that's part of it. It's about families who can't afford to buy basic necessities, children who go without, and people who work full-time jobs but still can't escape the cycle of poverty. Today, we're going to peel back the layers of this beautiful country and take an honest look at the economic struggles happening beneath the surface. Why is a major European economy like Italy facing this crisis? Who is most affected? And what does poverty in Italy actually look like? Let's dive in. To really understand the scale of the problem, we need to look at the numbers. According to recent data from Istat, Italy's National Statistics Institute, around 5.7 million people live in what's called absolute poverty. That's nearly 10% of the entire population. But what does absolute poverty mean? It's not just about having a low income. It means that these individuals and families cannot afford a basic basket of essential goods and services. We're talking about things like adequate food, a safe place to live, heating in the winter, and clothing. These are things many of us take for granted, but for millions in Italy, they are out of reach. Beyond absolute poverty, there's also relative poverty, which affects an even larger portion of the population. This is defined by living on an income significantly below the national average. For a single person, that threshold is around 630 euros per month. Imagine trying to cover rent, bills, food, and transportation on that amount. It's an incredible struggle. One of the most striking features of poverty in Italy is the stark regional divide. There's a massive gap between the prosperous north and the struggling south, a region known as the Mezzogiorno. While cities like Milan and Bologna are economic powerhouses, poverty rates in southern regions like Sicily, Calabria, and Campania are drastically higher. In some parts of the south, the poverty rate can be 2 or even 3 times higher than in the north. This isn't a new phenomenon. It's a historical issue that has persisted for generations, creating what feels like 2 different countries within one border. Certain groups are also far more vulnerable. Children are disproportionately affected, with child poverty rates being alarmingly high. This means that a generation of kids is growing up without the resources they need for a healthy and successful future. Larger families, especially those with 3 or more children, are also at much higher risk. And it's not just Italian citizens. Non-nationals and immigrants face even greater challenges in finding stable work and accessing social support, pushing them deeper into poverty. So, we have this picture of a country where your chances in life can be dramatically different depending on where you're reborn and what family you're reborn into. So, how did Italy, one of the world's largest economies, get here? The causes are complex and interconnected, stemming from a mix of economic shifts, social changes, and long-standing structural problems. A major factor is the country's slow and painful recovery from past economic crises. While other European nations bounce back more quickly, Italy's economy has stagnated for years. This has been made worse by recent inflation, which has driven up the cost of living and pushed many households over the edge. This economic environment has led to a huge change in the job market. The idea of a stable, lifelong job, the posto fisso, is becoming a thing of the past for many Italians. Instead, we see a rise in what's called precarious work. These are temporary contracts, part-time jobs, and work in the informal or black economy. While these jobs provide some income, they offer no security, no benefits, and very low pay. This leads to a deeply concerning phenomenon known as in-work poverty. That's right, Having a job in Italy doesn't guarantee you'll escape poverty. There are millions of working poor, people who get up and go to work every day, but whose wages are so low that they still can't afford a decent standard of living. This affects a wide range of people, but studies show that men with temporary contracts are particularly vulnerable. They're stuck in a cycle of short-term jobs that prevent them from building any kind of financial stability for themselves and their families. Another major piece of the puzzle is Italy's demographic situation. Italy has one of the oldest populations in the world. A large and growing number of retirees puts a huge strain on the country's pension and healthcare systems. At the same time, a low birth rate means there are fewer young people entering the workforce to support this aging population. This demographic imbalance creates a drag on the economy and limits the resources available for social support programs that could help alleviate poverty. And finally, we have to talk about inequality. The gap between the rich and the poor in Italy is widening. Wealth is incredibly concentrated at the top. The richest Italians hold a disproportionate share of the country's assets, while the poorest have seen their financial situations worsen. This isn't just about income. It's about a lack of opportunity. When wealth is so concentrated, it becomes harder for those at the bottom to access quality education, healthcare, and job opportunities, the very things that could help them break out of poverty. It creates a rigid social structure where moving up the economic ladder is incredibly difficult. All these factors, economic stagnation, precarious work, an aging population, and deep-seated inequality have combined to create a perfect storm, trapping millions of Italians in a cycle of poverty. The consequences of this widespread poverty are profound and touch every aspect of life. For individuals and families, it means a constant state of stress and instability. Living on irregular, low-paying jobs makes it impossible to plan for the future. You can't save for a down payment on a home. You can't invest in your children's education. And you can't even be sure you'll have enough money for groceries next month. Every day is about survival. This economic hardship inevitably leads to social exclusion. Poverty isn't just about a lack of money. It's about being shut out from participating fully in society. It affects people's health, both physical and mental. The stress of financial insecurity takes a heavy toll, and lack of funds can mean putting off necessary medical care. It impacts education, as children from low-income families often have fewer resources and opportunities. It limits social participation. You can't afford to go out with friends, join a sports club, or take a family vacation. It slowly erodes a person's sense of dignity and belonging. Many people find themselves relying on charity organizations like Caritas or food banks just to get by. These organizations do incredible work, but they are overwhelmed by the growing demand. They report seeing more and more people who have jobs but still need help, a clear sign of the working poor crisis. They also see a rise in families who have never had to ask for help before, people who have been pushed into poverty by a job loss, a health crisis, or rising costs. So what's the takeaway here? Italy is a country of contrasts. It's a place of immense wealth, culture, and beauty, but it's also a place where a silent crisis of poverty is unfolding. It's a crisis fueled by a stagnant economy, a broken job market, and deep-seated inequalities. The image of the dolce vita, the sweet life, is a reality for some, but for millions of others, life is a daily struggle. Recognizing this problem is the first step. The postcard image of Italy is beautiful, but it's incomplete. The full picture includes the millions of hardworking people who are struggling to build a better life against incredible odds. Their story is also a part of Italy's story. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more deep dives into the issues that shape our world. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.